Hello, hello, hello. This is chaos. Why is this giving me such a hard time? I can't see the chat. Isn't that annoying when technology stops working the way it's supposed to? Um, so here we are. I decided, you know what? Let's do a mock draft. Why not do a mock draft? But let's do it for the Jets and the 49ers. No reason. Just figured we could do it for the Jets and the 49ers, a mock draft. Um, so what I'm going to do is share my screen and I'm going to go through the mock draft. I might ask the chat for some advice, but I might not. I might just do this by myself, or I might just disagree and say, no, I'm not going to listen to you. I mean, you have to understand, some of you are the people who still believe we're going to get Lamar Jackson because it's like I got it. Patrick Mahomes. We should trade for Patrick Mahomes. He's not happy. There's no way we can't get him. If we offer them enough, we can get Patrick Mahomes. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to live in the real world today. The real world. The real world is we might get. There's a chance we can get Aaron Rodgers or Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is more believable because there's like a clear path to Derek Carr because the Raiders are going to release him or trade him, and we know that. So somebody's going to get Derek Carr. Aaron Rodgers is a little trickier because Green Bay signed this insane contract with him that's kind of like golden handcuffs. So it's really, really kind of a hard to imagine scenario. But the reality is that if Aaron Rodgers and the Packers really want to part ways and they both want it, and Aaron Rodgers decides he wants to be a Jet, it's always possible for that to somehow happen. I'm not really sure how. I don't know the details of how they get out of it, if there's a way out of the dead cap space. I don't know if he has to retire or agree to avoid his contract. Maybe he could walk out on his contract and void it after working out a deal with the Jets. I don't know. But there is a possibility, I guess. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is going to play for a different NFL team next year, why not us? I mean, we fit his description of what he wants. I think we're not really in a rebuild or doing a rebuild anymore. We're kind of coming out of the rebuild in a place where we want to compete and be competitive. So why not us? Why? It would be a great fit for a year. Think about it. If he came here and we only had a lock in for 1 year, maybe a second year option. I don't know, but let's just focus on 1 year. You put him. Our defense is pretty good defense. Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall coming back healthy, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, some good tight ends. Tight ends are okay. I don't know. Offensive line comes back healthy. Maybe we draft an offensive lineman. It's hard for me to imagine why we couldn't compete in that kind of scenario. Hard to imagine. And then Derek Carr is just not a little bit of a harder path, of believability, whether we can win with him or not. I don't know. It's debatable. But if, he's a clear upgrade. If we would have had Derek Carr playing quarterback, there's a lot of woulda, couldas. But, like, imagine the team we were when AVT and Breece Hall were healthy. Now, imagine it better than that. Because next year we're going to come back. Becton hopefully will be back. We're going to draft the tackle. AVT will be back. So imagine a healthier, better offensive line with Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Bam Knight, Garrett Wilson with more experience, Elijah Moore with a competent court, because Derek Carr's competent, could throw to him. I don't know. Suddenly it's believable that we're really a true competitor. I mean, we beat Buffalo without him, without Derek Carr, with just Zach. And then we played them really tough with Mike White. So I don't know. It's hard. I'm running out of reasons or arguments to sit there and say that we can't dream. If we had Derek Carr, that we can't dream about making a serious push for a championship. I don't know why we wouldn't be able to. We were playing at a very high level at some point last season. Now, I understand Brees Hall might need over a year to come back. He might not be the same, but that's not a guarantee either because Adrian Peterson set a rushing record after an ACL. So it's not a fact that Brees Hall won't be back and effective. I think he's going to end up on the PUP list, on the PUP list, and not play till week 7, or I think that's a strong possibility because I think it's going to be close and they're going to err to the side of caution, especially if the offensive line is healthy. We have Michael Carter. We have Bam Knight, James Robinson, Ty John. We have endless running backs. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. If Brees Hall was to come back and be perfectly healthy by camp and going crazy and doing everything right, then, of course, we're not going to put him on the PUP list. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, my thing is, it's not just no question we're in the playoffs with Carr. In my mind, I believe that too, unless our defense goes to shit, which I don't see why it would. But the question really is we're not. I mean, what's the future though? I've been a Jet fan for 40 years. I've been in the playoffs before, but when you lose in the playoffs, it's just as heartbreaking. Like I need a ring, I need a championship, a ring. More than just my wedding ring. I need the Lombardi trophy at MetLife. I need to see Woody Johnson accepting the Lombardi award with Saleh by his side. That's what I need to see. I think that, you got to walk before crawl before you can walk. So, yeah, you got to be a playoff team. But I would like to think that there's a chance with Derek Carr that we can compete for a Super Bowl. I mean, we were getting in our heads we can compete this year before all the injuries. Now imagine with Derek Carr. Healthy offensive line, Derek Carr. Depending on what happens in the draft, we could be a much stronger team. I mean, what if we end up with Broderick, and Skinner, whatever, the safety, and we end up with a better safety, or I don't know, better center, right? We take Jingle Schmidt. I mean, it could be pretty good. And let me tell you something. If we draft a tackle that's like a stud with the 13th pick and he comes in and we were to get Jingleheimer Schmidt as our center, and Becton came back with AVT and the offensive line was that good, and the only thing we have left is left guard to worry about with Laken Tomlinson, surrounded by great players. First of all, we might be able to hide because Laken Tomlinson wasn't a very below average guard, I don't think, and Tom C might correct me on that. I think he just didn't perform to his contract, but he wasn't, it's not like he was not serviceable. He's not McGovern. Not McGovern. He's not Van Rotten. Like, he's not an unserviceable guard. He's just a disappointment because we're overpaying him. I see somebody talking about Dwayne. Dwayne might come back, but if we draft a stud plug-in left tackle and Becton comes back healthy and blowing people away, I don't see how Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne was drafted to be a swing like a backup. That was the idea. Imagine Mitchell and Dwayne being backups to Becton and some stud that we draft, and we have 4 capable tackles. That would be something. But Laken, we have Laken for 1 more year. You know what I mean? We're stuck with him. So get used to him. Hopefully, if you put better players around him, he'll be better and he won't be a detriment to the team. Hopefully, he'll be okay. Now, we're going to get into a draft. What does San Francisco need? What do the 49ers need? I think the 49ers have a great offensive line. Not that you they could use a new center maybe. So look for that. The Niners might try to grab a center. And the Niners would definitely grab another cornerback. They could use help in their secondary. So look for the Niners to do that. That's why they might not be a threat to the Jets, because I think that early on, I think they'd love to get a stud cornerback at this point. Because if you look at their team, they got a really solid team. They got their running backs, they got their wide receivers, they got their tight end, they got, they're pretty strong. So when you look to the defense, they'll always take edge if there's an edge type guy. They will. So they would definitely consider that. They would definitely go cornerback, I think, and bring in a stud cornerback. So that's what they're looking at. We're looking at offensive tackle. We're looking at center. We're looking at safety. We're looking at linebacker and defensive tackle. There are 5 areas for us to get better. I don't think we're gushing blood on defensive tackle. We have to see what happens in the offseason. And I also do think that one thing that needs to be talked about more is the consideration of moving JFM to the inside. So that's a possibility. Michael Clemens is a guy who can move to the inside, I think. The little bit that he did, I thought he was fine. So there's some flexibility there with some of our players currently on the roster. We got to see who we're going to bring back. Linebacker, it's the bit. I think we need a linebacker. The problem is that some people are arguing, no, they think that they're going to be good with just going back with Quan and Williams. But, they're both free agents. You got to sign them. So obviously we got Mosley in the middle, and we got Sherwood, who unfortunately only seems to be able to play in the middle, which is very unfortunate because I feel like we're wasting Sherman behind Mosley. We got to get both guys. We got to get both these guys on the field. So it would be great if we can get Sherwood onto the field somehow. I'm not getting Anthony Richardson. I think that would be a crazy pick. You want to roll the dice? Dude, I think that's a crazy pick to go for Anthony Richardson. Now we're just going to take a guy with a 50%. I know Josh Allen had accuracy, problems coming out of college. But that doesn't mean that any guy you take out of college with accuracy problems is going to become Josh Allen. I don't know. Richardson to me it's like rolling dice. I don't know if we could afford to roll dice again with the top pick on a quarterback. I just don't think we could do it. We'll know more at the time. If we lose out on everyone, if we lose out on everyone and we don't bring in a new quarterback at all, I guess we could start the possibility, the discussion that they might actually take a quarterback in the draft. Very hard to see that as a likely scenario, though. Very hard. Very hard when you plan on how you're going to build your team. And I think the Jets made it obvious they're going to spend money on a quarterback. I think the Jets are going to go the route of money because they already went the route of draft pick with Zach Wilson. And they have a plan of building a team and building depth. And if you keep using up that high pick on quarterback, it really throws us back. Whereas if you get a Derek Carr or, I don't know, whatever they're going to end up doing at quarterback, then they can move forward with every other part of the team. I don't know. Richardson's I don't see a lot of people clamoring for him. It could be wrong. You never know who the stud's going to be. They laughed at the Giants when they took Daniel Jones. But I don't know. I don't know if that's realistic. Anyway, let's I don't know how you could be so sure. You're saying Richardson won't be. How could you know that? Nobody knows that. If you knew that, you'd be the GM. You'd be a GM. You'd be making a lot of money if you knew that. You know what I mean? I'm tired of pretending that I think people know what they're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. You're some guy at home, just like me. We're schmucks. We don't know anything, dude. We'd be making money. Are you getting paid professionally to evaluate Richardson and say he could be a good quarterback? We're idiots with an opinion. You know what I mean? We don't know anything. Stop pretending you do. You don't know anything. I don't know anything. You don't know anything. It's rolling dice on quarterbacks. Okay, all the GMs in the NFL are not stupid. They actually have experience and get paid lots of money and have tons of scouts watching it. They're going through tons of numbers. They have tons more information than we do. If the Jets take Richardson, I'd say, hey, Mike Rowe, you might be onto something because this top, not this scouting team and this, and all these guys picked Richardson. Maybe they're onto him. Maybe they, and even then, it's not a guarantee though. It's not a guarantee, but like, you know what I mean? But like, it's just impossible to like. I don't understand why people think they know that a quarterback's going to be good out of the draft when the people that are getting paid millions of dollars to know don't know. I mean, we just don't know. That's the thing about a draft. It's rolling dice. You don't know. You just don't know. There's no way to know. We thought that it was a strong draft class. Mac Jones, people are talking like New England needs a quarterback again. So that's Trevor Lawrence took a couple of years. He's coming along, but he was the guy. He was that one guy that you knew. He was the guy. But Zach, Trey Lawrence, not looking good. Not looking good for any of these guys. All these different guys that came out. Justin Fields, we still have to see, but he's not looking like a passing quarterback. Like right now, if it wasn't for his running ability, people would be calling him a bust. His numbers are as bad as Zach's passing-wise in some ways. But he could run. I mean, he's dangerous that way. But let me tell you something. Chicago didn't pick him and trade up for him just for him to be a running back that plays behind center. Like they're trying to develop that kid into, more like of a Lamar, a guy who could also be a passing quarterback. And he was very accurate in college, Justin Fields. So believe me, they didn't draft him to just be a running quarterback that's an average or below average passer. They drafted Justin Fields with the hopes that he's going to be a very good quarterback that happens to also be an elite running back. They're going for that dream player that's going to like alter their franchise. So that draft didn't go very well. So, but, quarterbacks are a crapshoot. That's all it is. Yep, it's a crapshoot. That's the one thing I learned. If I learned anything watching football for over 40 years, the number one thing I learned is when you draft a quarterback, it's a crapshoot. Now, sometimes there's like an Andrew Luck type guy or a Trevor Lawrence, and it's much easier to be right, but not if you're a Jets fan. So get it out of your head. For us, it's always going to be a crapshoot. But anyway, let's get to the draft. It says present now. They try to be all fancy. I'm going to share screen. We're going to say mock draft. I hope you guys could see. I hope you're able to see it. I'm trying to make the screen as big as I can. They're really screwing me over, YouTube, with the chat because they're making me have to scroll down and not see the screen. Okay. What I'm going to do is when I start the draft, I'm going to try to zoom in so that I'm going to make it bigger for you guys. So here we go. We're going to do this draft. And we're off. People are disappearing off the board. Oh, look at that. Anthony Richardson went to Washington this time. A lot of times they have him going to Atlanta. And right off the bat, we have a trade offer. Kansas City is offering us, pick number 30. They'll upgrade our 141 to 62. And they'll give us their first round pick next year. I'm not feeling it. 34, too far back. Although look at the haul they're offering us. Arizona's first round pick, you shouldn't scarf at it. You know what I mean? You shouldn't scarf at Arizona first round pick because that first round pick, I mean, Arizona, if you ask me, they're going to stink next year. All right? They're going to win 4 or 5 games, tops. So we're looking at a top 10 pick here for next year. Extra top 10 pick. And we get a 66 pick. We get a early third round pick here. I don't know, man. This is a good trade offer. It's really good. But that's very far back, 34. And the Raiders, my God, they really want us to go far back. That doesn't make sense because this is not as good a deal as the Arizona trade. Man, it's tough. You know what? We're going to tell them all to kick tires. And we're going to look and see who's available. Bijan Robinson, running back. We're not going to take him. Look at these cornerbacks. We just don't need. But, man, there's a lot of good cornerbacks in this year's draft, and there was a lot last year. So here's where it gets interesting. When we start seeing names like Brian Branch, because that would be just an amazing pick for the Jets. I forgot to take the Niners, so I can't draft for the Niners. Darn it. I meant to do both teams. We'll just track who they pick. The other guy, it's going to be one of two guys, right? It's going to be Skoronski or it's going to be Brian Branch. Brian Branch is a game-changing safety. Okay? Game changer, but the need is for offensive tackle cannot be overstated. I mean, we can make our defense as good as we want. If we can't build an offensive line, we're always going to have the same result. We're going to be cursing and yelling because we can't score touchdowns. We need to build a wall. Let me tell you something about Peter Skoronski. Peter Skoronski is known to be a pass-blocking tackle, meaning he's not just, he's good and adequate at run blocking. He's fine. But the reality is he is the best tackle coming out of the draft at defending, at pass protection. So I like it. You know what I mean? And if Max Mitchell turns out to be great and Becton is great, this guy can move to guard for Lakin after next year. So, it's a great pick. Now, I love Brian Branch. We'll be talking about him on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about Brian Branch and all the other safeties. Now, one of the things I think you're going to learn Sunday night, as much as Brian Branch would be incredible, as much as it would be incredible, and he would, believe me, as good as our defense was last year, significantly better with Brian Branch. Like, you can't, this is a game-changing type player. Big plays, the whole thing. Ball hawker, creates turnovers. But I will say I think that the back, like the second and third round, fourth round, is a lot juicier as far as at least offering safeties that could contribute to our team and be decent safeties. Whereas it's harder in tackle because once you get off the top top four tackles, there's a drop-off, as we learned last week from Dom C. So I'm going to go for Peter Skoronski. And I know it's not as sexy as taking Brian Branch. I know it's not. But at the end of the day, it's the smart thing to do. Build the wall. So I do that. And we watch players go. Oh, Sikiaki is gone. Defensive tackle. Okay, so now we have pick number 43. New England wants us to drop back to 46, and all they're offering for it is the next year's 7th round pick. You know what New England could do, right? You know what they can do. I don't have to say it. Now, Philly wants us to go down 4 spots, and we can upgrade our pick by like 40 picks at the end of the draft. Let me look at who's there, who I think Philly's going to take. I think Philly's going to take Michael Mayer, right? That's why they're all antsy to get up there. We could have linebacker Drew Sanders. I'm not interested in Gervin Dexter. Oh, John Michael Schmitz. I don't think they're going to take John Michael Schmitz. I don't think that's why they want to trade up. But we're risking that. So I'm going to, let me look at that. We're trading back to 47. I think it's scary. We could lose our guy. But I want to do at least one trade. And this will make our next, that 172 be a lot more interesting if it's 131. I'm going to accept it. I think our guy's still going to be there. Okay. They want us to, I can't do that trade. No way. No way. What are they, crazy? I'm not doing those trades. Okay. So look who's there. He's still there. You guys want a center for the next 10 years? I'd rather have that than defensive tackle. right? Now, there is Jordan Battle, but again, I think there are other safeties further down that we can get in the third round. That's where I really want to turn my attention towards safety. I know I know you want a linebacker. I want linebackers too. The problem is where is the linebacker going to play? Because we got Mosley taken up the middle and we got Sherwood stuck behind them. And I just don't know what we're going to do. Because we really need a safety. But you know what? This guy would be our center, plug and play. We're going to know so much more after free agency because if we don't re-sign McGovern and he leaves, then we know we have to take Schmitz. Like if there's no McGovern, it's a fact. We have no choice. We have to take John Michael Schmitz because we don't just need a center. We need a plug and play center. John Michael Schmitz is a plug and play center. And I know that Jordan Battle's good, but I think there are other safeties that can help our team. And you know what? Our defense wasn't the problem this year. It was our offense, specifically outside of quarterback, which we're not going to solve in this draft. Offensive line. So we're going to take our center and we're going to lock that down. We are going to lock that down. And now it comes back to us. Now we've taken a tackle and a center. And by the way, one of the exciting things about the tackle and the center that we took, I'm not going to do a trade, is that we got one of the best offensive tackles. I personally think that Peter is the best offensive tackle for us in the draft. Like he's the one I want. And then we got the best center in the draft. So I love sticking to that pattern. Like JD does that like last year, like top guys. He took the top running back. He took one of the top tight ends. He took the top cornerback. He took one of the top wide receivers. Like all of our draft picks are like top guys. JJ, one of the top edges. Like all of them were top 4 guys for their position. And right now we're on course to do that. We're doing that right now. So here's a defensive tackle, but I just don't think the need is there. Now here's a linebacker named Ivan Pace. I want to see which linebackers are available. Oh, Papoy is not there anymore. That's a bummer. DeMarvion Overshone is really good. I like Servosia Dennis. Dorian Williams is a guy I've picked up multiple times in drafts. But look at the drop-off. I think that we have to grab Ivan Pace here. Look at that drop-off. 76 ranked. See, if we go for safety, we can get that later. And I like Troy Dean. I liked Jamie Robinson. I like Trey Dean. Like, there are guys here. I think Rashad is. I mean, Dom C will fill us in. But this is what I mean. There are guys in the 100 to 130 range that are very doable at safety. We're going to find that out. So I'm going to go back to linebacker. And I'm going to say, I love Cincinnati. I love players coming out of Cincinnati. He's friends. He's friends with what's his face? With Sauce Gardner. You know what I mean? I like that he lacks size because we like guys who are good in coverage. You know what I mean? But he dominates in the box. Oh, it says he's had his issues in coverage. We can't take him. We can't take him. I'm sorry. We can't take him. We can't take a guy that has known issues in coverage when that's the kind of defense we run. Shoot. Okay, let's look at. Help me out, guys. What are we going to do? Let's look at the big board. We need to go back to the drawing board. Well, we could take a defensive tackle here if we care about value. Darn it. You have to. Oh, Brian Young is still there. The problem is it's just reaching. It's reaching to take guys like that. That's the problem. It's not reaching to take Cansey, defensive tackle. 6 foot tall, 276. He's not big at all, but he has impressive body control. Huh. We can go safety, but we're gonna be reaching. I'd really rather take a safety with 110 because that's about the right place to grab a safety is 110 at this point. Right now it's reaching. We're going to end up taking a guy that we can get. Like if you scroll down, look how far down we're going for safety. I mean, it doesn't make sense. We're not getting to safeties until around 110. Like we can get these guys when we pick later. So I really got myself into a little bit of a pickle. I got myself into a bit of a pickle. You're saying focus on the offense. I see that twisted, but look what I got already. I mean, I can't go offensive line a third time in a row. I mean, I can, but there's no reason to. I mean, we shored up the line. We got a tackle. We got a center. If we sign McGovern for any amount of money, he's a backup guard right there. If he's still on the team, which I doubt he would be. Man, I like Warren McClendon from Georgia. I do. And there's Blake Freeland. These are good guys. Matthew Bergeron. These are good guys. These are top 10 on Dom C's list guys. Man, I can't believe there's no other linebacker. Let's look at the linebacker list. Well, we can grab DeMarvion Overshown. He's popular. I don't know if that's a Dom C. Where are you when I need you? Huh. I'm going to grab him. Look, let's read about him. I like it because, look, he's only 220. He's our kind of guy. He stands out amongst his counterparts. Long, rangy frame. 6'4". This is a pass defender, guys. Shows up in multiple phases. Length gives him immense disruption potential when stalking the backfield. He can lurk in the second level. I like that. I like guys who lurk. He could lurk. Rise up to snatch intermediate passes. Ball skills to make plays at the catch point. He's athletic. He's explosive. I like this guy. 6'4", 220. I like that. A big, tall, lanky linebacker. Fits our system really well. I know that Ivan Pace Jr. is ranked really hot, much higher than him, but the reality is that guy is described as the opposite of what we like. You know, I'm twisted. I don't got time to trade down. You know how long it takes in this thing to trade down? I'll be sitting here for 2 hours, like making offers and stuff. Got Green Bean showing coming back. We got a Green Bean show coming up in 40 minutes. I don't got time for that. Just taking Overshown. Boom. Now watch. We'll get the safety now. Maggots. Okay. Nope. Here we go. Where's our safeties? Now all the linebackers here. So, oh no, that's because I have that selected. Wait a second. Okay. Who's on the? Trey Dean is still there. I like it. Now, Dom C might like Ronnie Hickman better. I'm not really sure. I like Trey Dean. I could swear Dom C mentioned him. I guess we're going to learn more. We're going to find out if I'm right on Sunday. But let's take our safety, guys. Take our safety. Now we're getting down to pick 131. We can start looking at tackle. We could double up on safety. Nothing wrong with that. I keep saying that name, Trey Palmer from Nebraska, wide receiver. I think he's a small, quick little guy. He's a little squirrely little guy. Oh, no, he's 6'4", 280. He's big. He's a beast. Although it doesn't have lower body strength to break arm tackles, he has short area elusiveness to restrict defense. He's a big-bodied receiver. We're going to lose Corey Davis. Is this the replacement? Bubble screens. Oh, he's a punt returner, kick returner. He does special teams. I think we're going to, if we don't sign Corey Davis, we are going to need a wide receiver. We are going to have to stick someone in there. So Dom C, I see in the chat, he has both the guys I picked in his top 10. So I'm not doing bad. I'm not doing bad. I like how if Twisted doesn't agree with you, he has to insult you because again, another person who thinks he's smarter than everybody else. It's like, you don't know. Like, you don't know. You're not a GM, so why are you pretending you are? Why are you pretending you know? You watch college football, you watch every game, and you know all these players? Or are you just talking out of your asshole? I mean, it's like, come on, man. Like, give me a break. It's an insult because Rex was the worst drafter ever. That's why it's an insult. Rex Ryan was able to draft a football, was able to coach. He was the worst. He destroyed the Jets when in his time. When Rex was the coach, that's when it went to crap as far as drafts. We didn't bring in any new guys. That's why we sucked after 2011 because we weren't bringing any guys. That's why. Oh, because we aren't trading. Well, that's just this draft. I mean, I usually trade. I do. I usually trade. All right. So who did we get? Who do we need? We got an offensive tackle. We got a center. We got a linebacker. We got a safety. We could use a big, fat, run-stopping defensive tackle. I think we could use a wide receiver. Like, I don't see there's anything wrong with getting a wide receiver. I do. I think people are thinking we're good. I don't know why. If we don't sign Corey Davis, I know you're not insulting me. I didn't think you were insulting me. I thought you were insulting the draft. So I was just saying, what do you know? I don't take it personally that you're insulting me. I thought you were insulting the draft. I thought I'm doing pretty good. Dom C says I got the number 9 guy. And I like that he has Overshown as his number 8 above pace because that's what I just did. And I did that without looking at his draft guide. So you see how me and Dom C are on the same page sometimes? Doesn't happen all the time. Anyway, what do you guys? Okay, so the reason I don't think they're signing Corey Davis is because Corey Davis would cost like 12 and a half, 13 million. And I don't think Corey Davis is worth 13 million. The 2 years we had him, he's missed 5 or 6 games or something like that each year. Like he's missed real time. And he drops a lot of passes. So I really don't see Corey Davis as part of the plan. Now, could Trey Palmer step up in his place? I don't know. Kid's coming out of Nebraska. You know? Yeah, I'm going to go for a quarterback in the last round. That's what I've been doing. But there's no value for it here. I like Jay Ward a lot. Tom C., you know Jay Ward from LSU? I thought he was good. Look at this guy, Parker Washington from Penn State. They seem to make good wide receivers, but he's small, 5'10". Do we need another small wide receiver? Who's this guy, Charlie Jones? 6 foot. Again, like, I don't know, man. If I'm going to go wide receiver, Mingo? I love guys named Mingo. 6'2", 225. I don't know about these guys. That's the problem. This is the part of draft, this early in the draft season, it gets hard for me because we haven't went over all the players yet. These are the quarterbacks that are left. The only quarterback left on this list that I have any interest in, and I think we can get him later, is Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA. He's very good. He's like a baby Lamar. He's like a baby Lamar. He has great mobility. Has an above average arm. It says it right there. So he could throw with velocity. He could throw at different angles. I mean, you take a shot at them. I mean, they're all freaking. It's like a crapshoot. It's just throwing darts at the board with quarterback. So you may as well just throw the dart at the board with the kid. And if he hits, great. And if he doesn't, then it cost us a 5th round pick. Hooker's already gone. If we want Hooker, you got to take him in the 3rd round if he's there. So my rule with Hooker is if it's 3rd round, I won't be mad if the Jets take him. If it's 3rd round, we better not take him any higher than that. Parker Washington. Is that a quarterback? No. I don't see no Parker Robinson. I don't know what you're talking about, Dom. I don't know what you're talking about. Parker Robinson. I don't know what position. I know nothing. I don't know that name from a hole in the wall. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. It's a calculated risk. Yeah, it's a calculated risk, but I mean, I'm saying it's a crapshoot in whether a quarterback is going to work out. You know what I mean? Like, there's a million quarterbacks we would have named last year that were better than Brock Purdy. Not one person mentioned his name ever, right? But he's looking good and better than almost any quarterback in the draft from last year. I mean, explain it. Crapshoot. that's what it is. You just don't know. I don't. Is there? Maybe there's a few GMs that know because they seem to get it right more than once. They seem to be able to draft quarterbacks repeatedly. I don't know. Tanner McGee, unfortunately, is not there. He's a smart kid out of Stanford. Played on a very weak team, very poor team. If Stanford was better and they were like the old days, you go back to the team Andrew Luck had, maybe he's a guy we're all talking about. So I'm not against taking him. I just don't know, like, at what point of the draft. I'm just going to say, let's assume that we're just going to grab Trey Palmer here. And then the Jets will get you all excited about him. You know how they love to build their guys up. We're a big guy. Blah, 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 blah. The next thing you know, we're all screaming he's going to be all pro. So here's 140. Jamie Robinson is great value here. Get another safety. But we could look at quarterback. Let me see. When's our next pick? This is our last pick, so let's just grab a quarterback. Make you guys happy. I'll do it your way. Quarterback, and he's still there. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. There you go. Unleashed wants another safety. I got a safety, though. I don't know how Dom C feels about the safety. Parker Washington is excellent, in my opinion. What was he? Okay. So here we go. Let's look at this draft, this horrible draft that I just put together that you guys will put me down for forever. Peter Skoronski at tackle. Right there, I made our team better. Chaos made our team better with that pick. Right there, we got a guy who can block and protect the quarterback. Becton comes back. You got Peter and Mackay on both sides, right and left side, anchoring it down, baby. If Becton doesn't work out, we got Max Mitchell competing with Dwayne Brown if Dwayne Brown comes back. At center, John Michael Schmitz. You guys want to know about him? Ooh, 6'4", 320. He can get outside off the snap. Lateral. Not only can the Minnesota Center get outside on the one tech off the snap, but he can also give himself enough space to flip his hips. His lateral burst. He has lateral burst. You know how excited Dom C gets when he watches that kind of stuff? He jumps out of his chair, screaming it. Lateral burst. And then what did I do? I'll tell you what I did. After getting those two guys and shoring up our offensive line, I decided it was time to get a linebacker. So I went and got DeMarvion Overshown, the number 8th ranked linebacker on Dom C's board. He's fast. He's disruptive. He'll help us. Then, you're all making good points out there. Good points. Trey Dean. I got to hear Dom C's take on him. I always take him. I don't know why. Every draft I'm taking Trey Dean. I don't know nearly enough about him. But Dom C will clear that up if you're curious on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Dom C will enlighten us all and talk about Trey Dean. You know what? I'm doing him a disservice. It's not Trey Dean. It's Trey Dean III. His grandfather is Trey Dean. His father is Trey Dean Jr. And he is Trey Dean III. Now, I didn't realize I got a little crazy. I went 2 trays in a row. Now, this is a little bit of a crapshoot. You know what I mean? This is a crapshoot. I'm taking a flyer here. I'm taking a shot. Throwing the dart at the dartboard. I see a big-bodied. Oh, wait a second. I see a big-bodied wide receiver, and I'm going for it. Okay? I like it. I like jet sweeps. Jet. Maybe that's an omen. He returns punts, returns kicks. He's an athlete. I like wide receivers that do everything in college, and then they come out. They have a lot of different ways to make the team and add value. And then we get Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Throws with velocity. Yeah, Twisted. He's a big boy. Big boy. A big boy. 286 He's a big body guy. Big and thick. Maybe we turn him into a tight end and he can go to the Giants and play for them. We're good at doing that. We'll convert him to a tight end and then let him go and he'll help the Giants. Anyway, that's it, guys. My lousy, crappy draft. But if we get Roman as our offensive coordinator, that guy will fit right in, that big wide receiver, Trey Palmer, because he doesn't like throwing. He doesn't like including wide receivers in the offense. He likes throwing to tight ends. So Trey Palmer could be more of a tight end. Let me zoom this back in. Look at you guys just hang out here, even as I babble to myself. It's amazing. Stop sharing. Close. All right, here we go. So, what do you guys rate that draft? Now, keep in mind, we're only up to 2. When I get to like my 30th mock draft, I'm like an expert. I know every player. I know how to play the board. I know where I could trade down to. I get really good at this stuff. Right now, because the Jets were in it to because the Jets were in it so long into the season, here it is in January, on January 20th, and I have no idea yet. Like, I know the first 2 rounds. I'm like 2 rounds. I'm starting to learn the 3rd round. After that, done. But I could do like the first 3 rounds. I got that down, thanks to Dom, because I know all the tackles now, so I know where I can grab a tackle anywhere in the first couple of rounds. And I know the center that's usually there in the 2nd round. I know a couple of defensive tackles, and I know a couple of the linebackers that are there. Sometimes in the 3rd, Campbell, Papau. That's the one I want. I want the guy Powie, or whatever his name is. Dom C will tell you why when he does linebackers. Fastest linebacker coming out in the country. Fastest linebacker this side of North Carolina. Someone asked me where that came from. So anyway, that was the 2nd draft. And I'll tell you what, it's really hard. If we get that guy, Peter Strzonski, or whatever his name is, or Brian Branch, it's going to be hard to ruin the rest of the draft for me. Like, it's going to be hard to ruin the rest of the draft because I'm going to be really excited about, like, we're going to be a better team if we do that. If we get one of those 2 guys, like that, that's like another. To me, they're going to be like impact players, like Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner and Sauce Gardner is going to be a future Hall of Famer, but you know what I mean. Like, it's an impact player. It's a real guy. Like those 2 guys. Brian Branch will be a real guy. Like, how Brisker was a real guy for Chicago. They were really excited about him before he got hurt. That's what it's going to be like. I think I compare him to Minkah Fitzpatrick. And the reason I make that comparison, shut up, Tom C. The reason I make that comparison, he's not even talking, but I know if he sees this or he's listening, I know what he's thinking. He's going to give me all the reasons he isn't. That guy has this much muscle mass, and he plays the weak, the weak, the whatever. I don't care. He reminds me of Minkah Fitzpatrick because he's the quarterback of the defense. All right, like Minkah was. Like, if for Alabama, he was the guy. Like, Alabama's big. It's not just the talent that Alabama has to replace. Every year, Alabama has to replace. Not just forget about the talent because they have talent everywhere. They have to replace the leader. Like, who's the new leader? Who's the new coach on the field? The guy that's making it all happen. Now, 2 times that I can name for sure, Alabama, that player on defense was a safety. Years ago, not that many years ago, it was Minka Fitzpatrick. And now this last year was Brian Branch. Okay. So that's why I compare him to him, because he's a safety that's not just super talented, that could play in the box or pass defend, that's ball hawking, that has a sense of where the ball is and how to get the ball. Aside from having all those good attributes, he's super smart and he's a leader. So we're talking about getting leaders on every level of the field. You got Reed and Gardner, right, on that cornerback level, on the secondary already. You bring in a guy like Brian Branch, you're just adding to the intelligence of our defense, right? You got Mosley in the middle. He's super smart. So one good thing is he's a leader. He's the captain of that defense. He's the quarterback of that defense. So at every level, you're talking about solid, smart players. On the defensive line, I don't know if we lose Lawson, who becomes the smart player on the defensive line. I mean, Quinnen Williams, hard to imagine he's not smart when you look at the plays he makes and the way he plays. He's a smart player. I don't know who the leader of the defensive line is. Like, who's the guy on the defensive line? Who's the leader of the line? I mean, there's plenty of manliness. I mean, like Michael Clemens, we got a legend on the line. The toughness, the strength. But who is the defensive line leader if Carl Lawson is gone? Who's the guy that's doing the talking? Who's the guy that's telling the other guys, getting on the other guys, encouraging the other guys, correcting the other guys? I mean, I think Quinnen Williams showed that when they showed him on the sideline screaming at the coaches. And you know what? It's like I'm starting to understand, like, our players, they have good character. They were getting frustrated, the players, with this young coaching staff. They were. Elijah Moore definitely told LaFleur basically to, go F himself, because he could see he didn't know what he was doing. He's like, you don't know how to run an offense. You can't get me the ball. I'm wide open. You can't get me the ball. Something's wrong with you. I hate you. And so he was pissed off. Mims was frustrated because they're like destroying his career, giving him no chance. And then that one, we're like, oh, it's more Mims. So, okay, so maybe that's not as much ammunition. But then when you see Q Williams on the sideline screaming at them and telling them off, you're like, man, these coaches, do they even know what they're doing? The players are sitting here trying to tell him what's up. And he was right, because look what our defense did after that. Tony Alexio comes in and he says, we want Todd Monken for offensive coordinator to use his aggressive approach to win. I love how detailed Tony L gets. So we could use his aggressive approach to win. And I'm sure that aggressive approach will include Strevler packages. He's a college coach, but he's really good, right? So I don't know. I trust who they're going to sign. Like, whoever they bring in as their offensive coordinator, you have to trust. There's nothing we could do about it. We could sit here and give opinions all day, but at the end of the day, we just have to trust what they do. We just have to trust the person they bring in. There's not much more we can do than to trust, to hope. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good choices out there, but there's also a lot of competition right now. There's a lot of teams looking for offensive coordinator. So we can't lily-lally or dilly-lally or lily-dilly. We can't Buffalo Jets fan this. He looks like a big lily-laller, dilly-lower, I don't know why I'm saying that. He just comes off that way. Dilly-dilly-dally. No. He's not a dilly-daller. He's a go-getter. Who dilly-dallies? Who can we make fun of right now? Who dilly-dallies? Please no Hackett. I see that a lot of people don't like Hackett. I think people are judging him too much by his year in Denver. I don't think we should be looking at Nathaniel Hackett and basing his hireability on his year in Denver. I really don't. It's just different. It's different. He got a chance as an offensive as a coach because he was a head coach, because he was a good offensive coordinator, right? He impressed people as an offensive coordinator. If you can get him back as an offensive coordinator, that's where he shines. That's where he's good. What's wrong with that? Who cares what happened in Denver? But the problem with Hackett, here's the problem I have with Hackett. Because I know our toxic fan base. And if the first drive of the season, if we don't score a touchdown, he can't hack it. You know that's going to be 80% of the Jeff fans. He can't hack it. I'm going to be sitting there eating a slice of pizza. He can't hack it, man. I knew he couldn't hack it. Like, that's going to be, like, it's just too, it's like destiny. You know what I mean? It's too much destiny. Like, you just could feel it. Like, you know for a fact that it's just going to end up being he can't hack it. You just know it. You just know it's going to go that direction. It's like there's just no doubt in my mind. We're the Jets. You can't hire a guy named Hackett. You can't give us that pun. You can't give that to New York Jet fans. You can't. We're going to be waiting to say it. He's not even gonna have to mess up all spring. It's gonna be coming out. He can't hack it. I'm telling you, I'm predicting he can't hack it. And then at like preseason game, we don't score a touchdown on the first drive. I knew it. We can't hack it. He can't hack it. Like, that's all we're gonna talk about is he can't hack it. He can't hack it. And then they're gonna say, and then it's gonna be like the theme of the season that he has to go. He has to go. And we'll be serious about it. Like, oh, fire another. Let's just fire the offensive coordinator every year until one sticks. It's typical Jets. But who is the You're welcome for the great entertainment. So who is it going to be, though, if it's not Hackett? Okay, it could be the Monken guy, right? Monken. I'm trying to think of what they'll do. With him, it's going to be like send him to Duncan. Send that Monken to Duncan. That guy's offense is like a Dunkin' Donut. It's a big O. Duncan Monken. That'll be the nickname for him. First time he doesn't score. That's what I'm telling you, we're the most toxic fan base. So you got to consider names. You got to consider what is the guy's name before you hire him. Like LaFleur, they should have thought it out. Of course, it was going to be LaFraud. Of course, there was no question it was going to become that. Right? There's no question. You got to hire guys like Ulbrich, like your defensive coordinator, right? Because that's hard to make fun of that. You can't really. There's no easy jab you can take at him. All you do is just yell at him. You piece of garbage. Fire that piece of crap defensive coordinator. But there's no way to make fun of his name. It helps. Yeah. Yeah, so Monken will be Monkey. Get that Monken out of there, Monkey. I don't know, because that can get racist. I don't know what race he is. Is Monken what? Is he a white man or African American? Because then you can't do Monkey, because that's going to become too racist. And I think even Jet fans won't go there and shouldn't. So, because you know what I mean? You got to be careful about that kind of thing. So if he's white, you can, because then it's clearly on his name. You got to consider stuff like that. We're be sensitive. Get religious and get a monk. Yeah, that's one way to go. It's on Monken. I thought, what would a pumpkin Monken? Monken puts up a pumpkin. It's like throw a pumpkin at him. Monken pie. Turn him into Monken pie. Okay, well, if he's white, then we can call him Monkey. Monkey Monken. Yeah, I'm trying to think who are the other candidates. I know there was the tight ends coach for New England cracks me up. Like, why would we talk? The tight end coach from Miami, for New England, the tight end coach for New England, we interviewed him. This is so stupid to me. For offensive coordinator, he couldn't be the offensive coordinator for New England. They picked Mike Patricia over him, or Patricia. They picked the freaking defensive coach. They picked that joke of a coach as their offensive coordinator, and we're going to come in and make that guy our offensive coordinator. I don't even understand it. Like, get the hell out of here. We're not hiring the New England tight end coach. What kind of crap is that? We need a guy with experience. Well, it's not going to be Bevel, which is okay, because we would have called him the devil If it was Bevel, he would have been like, he'd be like, that foosball coach, devil, Bevel, devil, he ain't play foosball with the devil. My son not gonna spend all that time on the foosball. Who else? Who else could it be? Offensive coordinators. Let's think. Offensive coordinators. Jesse Lopez. Let's go Niners. Yeah, the Niners. They're gonna have. I'm sorry I messed up and I didn't do their draft because the Niners. There's a lot of cornerbacks. So I'm wondering. This is a really good time to select a cornerback, and the Niners have such a solid team. To me, that's when you have the luxury of going early for a cornerback for sure. You know, I don't know what else anybody would think the Niners need. They got wide receivers, they got running backs, they got tight ends, maybe another tight end, a young guy to groom behind Kittle, maybe. But I wouldn't go first round, right? Second, third round on a tight end. So Twisted tennis total. What's going on with Daniel Meehan? Daniel Meehan. How many other teams beside the Jets and Pats are currently looking for an OC? Yeah, it's a lot, man. Because now it's Baltimore. It's Baltimore, the Patriots, the Jets, Tampa Bay. Hold on, there's more. Who fired their coach? Denver. Because Denver fired their coach, so I think they need an offensive coordinator. That you have to consider that because when they hire someone, that someone's going to have to bring an offensive coordinator. Just as I said that, I see an O'Leary advertisement pop up saying, "Who's the next offensive coordinator?" I'm trying to think of who else. There's other teams too that need an offensive coordinator that just let people go. Tennessee, right? No, Tennessee. Do they? No. Who let go of their offensive coordinator? Somebody else did, not just Tampa. Forgetting who. Help me out in the chat, guys. But there's other teams, trust me. There's a bunch of teams that need an offensive coordinator. Yeah, we got the Patriots. I already said them. Chargers, that's right. Chargers, Rams. Rams and Chargers. That's right. Thanks, guys. Good stuff. Let's see. I think I see a super chat. Tony Alexia with the super chat. Thanks, man. We want Branch for safety. Our secondary will be second to none. Sign Brady or Carr. I really cannot. I really can't be against Branch as much as I want to tackle. Brian Branch is the one exception. If they take Brian Branch instead of taking a tackle in the first round, I'd be a little shocked if they took him at 13. That would be a reach unless he moves up in the boards. By then, Branch might be projected to be a top 15 player. But it's very hard for me to complain if they end up with him. Really, he's really special. He's a special player. But thanks for the super chat, my man. I appreciate it. Raiders, Bears. Well, the Raiders have their coach, so I don't think they fired their offensive coordinator. The Bears, I don't think they fired their offensive coordinator, did they? Someone is saying Joe Lombardi. The one thing you got to watch out for that is he ain't no Vince Lombardi. You know what I mean? He ain't no Lombardi. Lombardi's not getting us the Lombardi. Or it could be Joe Where's the O. So you got to think that's going to be a problem, probably. Problematic. Yeah, I was thinking more of Mika Fitzpatrick, but Ronnie Lott, that works for me. I wouldn't complain about that comparison at all. I love him, man. I love him. I watched that last bowl game specifically to see him play, and he did not disappoint. He's a ball hawk, man. We want turnovers. We want more turnovers. Brian Branch. There you go. He's a turnover maker, man. He's going to get us the ball. Remember for that movie, Get Us the Ball. Oh, you want the ball? Get us the ball. Get us the ball. I'll get you the ball. I got you the ball. Remember that? The Replacements? Okay. Patricia Hard, no, if he was good, Cheatriots would have him. The Cheatriots. They would have kept him. Patricia's a defensive coach. The fact that sometimes the people like to because Belichick has it in his head. I'm a good offensive minded guy. And the argument is that if you understand defense, you can very easily flip over and understand offense. But I don't. You have to be able to call the plays though and have a feel for it. To me, experience means something. I can't stay on Twisted. We got Green Bean coming up in 9 minutes. I gotta get there and help produce that show. You know what I mean? I have to go soon. I did my draft. For those of you who missed it, let me share screen. Let's see if I still have it open, and I'll share it with you one last time. Present, share screen, draft, share. Here it is. One final look. I admit that I stink. It's only 2.0. It's very early. I'm going to learn more. Right now, like I said, I only got the two first rounds, the two first and second round down. I do not hate this DeMarvion Overshown pick, though. I don't hate it. We did it because the positions didn't work. I mean, I didn't want to reach for a safety. And I got the guy I would have taken at 110, so it was the right move. But we address a lot of things here. We address tackle. We address center. We address linebacker and safety. We bring in another wide receiver, which I don't think is far-fetched. All this, there are people who want us to go early on wide receiver. So, what do I think is Roman is OC? I'll answer that in a second. And then Dorian Thompson-Robinson, quarterback from UCLA. I don't think it's wrong to grab a quarterback in a fifth round, fourth round scenario to groom. I think that you have to do it sometimes. And then sometimes you get lucky, a miracle happens. And I like that kid. The kid's good. So here's what I know about Roman from my little Twitter chats with my friends. The issue with Roman might be he's very good at designing a running offense. That's great. He hasn't been very wide receiver friendly. So Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore and Mims have been through a lot. Now you're going to bring in a guy who loves to throw to his running backs and tight ends. So it could be a little bit of a mismatch, like a bad match. I don't know. But I'll just leave it at that. Guys, I got to go. Sorry. Go to Green Bean Thursday, Thick of It. It's about to start. And I'll catch you later. I'll leave you with this. We are live. We got Harry W. We got Richie from Jets Media, Matt O'Leary, Iowa Jets fan, we're in the house. We got Dom C in the house. We got Steve, live, CEO of the Jet Lounge. So I knew I'd get rich on my channel. See what's going on. Yeah, there we go.
Jets by 1 million today.
Yeah.